So, moving on to our next story, we are consistently talking about the idea of a mini Switch or a Switch Pro, which would be a larger Switch with better specs and all this stuff. And I honestly don't know what's happening anymore. I actually don't. I really don't. I know that everything is rumor until it's not anymore, but it's getting to the point where it's like, all right, but like like what level of rumor? Because it's getting to the point where it's like, well, this is a rumor, but like a non-believable rumor, but this is a rumor that can be believed. And apparently, we're into the section of a rumor that can be believed. So, Nikkei Services reported. Oh, I'm sorry, Nikkei Services. Wow, my brain is fried as of looking at when we're recording this. There was a report from Nikkei that is actually reinforcing a Wall Street Journal report about a Switch revision in 2019. And this Nikkei report outlines plans for a Switch Lite slash Mini, which would actually kind of reinforce what the Wall Street Journal was talking about. And so apparently, while the Pro is the idea of a Pro with better specs and things like that is a bit more of a rumor. A Lite, if you will, actually has more backing. And of course, you have fans coming out now saying, oh, this makes more sense because we have a mainline Pokemon game coming out in 2019. Also, we have Animal Crossing. Nintendo wants to sell more, obviously, more consoles, as they always want to sell more consoles. Who doesn't? So what company's sitting there like, I don't want to sell more consoles. So of course, Nintendo wants to sell more. So, because they want to do that, you would think that a revision would help. And I think that this is me stepping in now and talking about a revision working and potentially not working. A Pro is such a harder sell. It's such a harder sell because even though a Pro could have better specs, obviously would have better specs, even though that's the case, when you look at the average gamer and the average consumer, people would feel as if they have been screwed. Even someone like me who's a streamer, even if there was built-in Twitch support in a Pro, I would feel like I have been screwed if I just paid $300 for a Switch and now a revision has come in. However, if you make a handheld Switch, which again we've talked about before, it would just be a Switch without a dock, and it would just be the Joy-Cons potentially would even be fused into the Switch itself. If you've created one of those, I wouldn't care about one of those. And people out there who've already bought a Switch, maybe they don't care, but maybe they want to buy a Switch for the kid. The kid's been hogging up their Switch, or the family Switch or whatever. And now what you can do is you can buy a cheaper, assuming that the Switch Lite would be much cheaper than the $300 Switch. You could buy a $200 Switch, let's say, or a $150 Switch, and get that for the kid. And now you feel as if you have access to another product. You want to try to trick someone into thinking that they have access to another product, not that they're getting screwed out of something they've just paid for with a brand new, better version. So a Switch Lite, to me, or a mini Switch, whatever you want to call it, it would be much better of a sell, especially in 2019, because it is so much easier to convince someone that they could actually, that they need this product if it's lesser than rather than better than. Because again, a Switch Pro being 350, even if it was 350 to 400, still, you still sit there and you're like, but I just paid 300 for my Switch. Now all of a sudden there's a Switch Pro, and maybe there's some games that can't even be played on an original Switch and are now being played on a Switch Pro. That would be extremely frustrating, where with a Switch Lite, saying, oh, hey, if you buy this, you could only play maybe first-party Nintendo titles, for a kid that wants to just play that on the go, and, and they feel as if, and the parents feel as if they're like, look, just give this to the kid, it's cheap, just let him play with it. I think that that's an easier sell for me. Just putting that out there. I think that would be an easier sell than a full-on Switch Pro. So I do think that this one, that there's a bit more credence to this than a Switch Pro as of right now, especially coming out in 2019, especially being, like some fans have been saying, coupling it with Pokemon and things like that, and new games coming out. I think it would work. I think it would not only work really well, but I think that Nintendo would sell a lot more Switches that way as well, and hopefully it would be much cheaper than the original Switch, and hopefully it would be durable, because that's also a problem as well that I've noticed with certain thinking of like a 2DS or something like that. I would worry about it being not as durable, this mini Switch, if, kids are throwing it around, stuff like that. But I mean, again, it's not really up to us to care about. It's really, the consumer. And if you're a consumer, then yeah, and trying to get this for your kid, of course you would care about this. But yeah, for me, I think that it would be interesting if Nikkei is correct. Again, this is one of those things where it's still a rumor. It's one of those weird things where it's like it's a rumor, but it's a rumor that has a lot more clout now. Clout? I don't know. That's the right word. Dang, the kids using the slang terms. But this is a rumor that has a lot more backing to it. I think now that Nikkei is behind it and talking about specs and things like that. And I guess Wall Street Journal, I'm not to say that they didn't matter necessarily, but it was still speculation at that point. Now there's a little bit more backing to it. So very interesting stuff. I want to hear what you guys think down below, though. Would you actually buy a Nintendo Switch Lite, or do you just not care either way? You're like, look, I have my Switch. That's all I care about. Or would you wait out for the Pro? Because I have a few friends that are sitting around like, no, I'm just going to wait for the Pro. They don't even have Switches. They want a Switch, but they're like, I'd rather wait for the Pro. So I want to hear what you guys think down below. Are you pro Switch Pro? Are you pro Switch Lite? Or do you just not care either way? So would love to hear what you guys have to say down below. So before we move on to our next story, I'm going to take the last sip of water that I can. And I'm also going to get something to eat after this. I'm starving. It's way too late to eat, but I'm starving, guys. All right, so all right, I was supposed to add a story on about Nintendo investors being dumb because they dropped off after Nintendo didn't sell as many Switches as they would like. I think we'll just add that to next episode's docket. Whoops, I forgot. Oh well. Anyway, so let me. All right. So let's see here. Where is the doing things